Anyone who looks through the channel will notice these things. In this video, I'll be elaborating on why I created such things, and talking about some absurd TF2 matchups that I'm aware of. It all started back when this abomination was released for all to see. I, like many, am not fond of the presentation. So out of mild displease and mood for some tomfoolery, I made these things up as a joke, and who knows, maybe it will become a real thing via Manifest Destiny or something. First I made Marasmus vs. Gargamel, the battle of goofy wizards whose effectiveness is entirely based on the plot, will never give up and stop at nothing to obtain absolute power. The soundtrack name could be The Ultimate Showdown of the All-Powerful. Fits the two wizards quite nicely. Now I can elaborate on how the fight would go. But thankfully, the Death Battle Fanon wiki covered me with this one. I'll leave the link to it in the description. One thing I must point out, they incorrectly assumed the Bombonomicon could bypass one's durability. That feat belongs to the Horsemann, but all in all, a comprehensible concept. How likely is this becoming an actual episode for Death Battle? I'd say not very. Since this disaster, I doubt that these two would want to go near anything TF2 related, but who knows, maybe they'll make another Smurf movie that'll be released on TF2's birthday, increasing traffic for this idea. Next is Saxton Hale vs. Spamton G. Spamton. The battle of the sexy men with big smiles, reliable companions, junk for sale, and sketchy mentors. The name of the matchup is Cold Black Friday. Goes well with Spamton's whole deal and the fact that Hale, along with his fellas, were created as a lore reason for the in-game items. Yes, my idea only included their gullible helpers. What can I say? I'm an idiot. I suppose this could be a thing for an anniversary of sorts? After Deltarune became friends with TF2 because the mystery man starts giving out coconut PNGs. But anyway, my third idea is Madcap vs. Pruncel. Nightmarish abominations that willed themselves into existence. The soundtrack for this one is called Willed into Existence. Not very inventive. If I have to guess, the winner is. It depends on whose random bullshit is more overpowered. General Grievous vs. Dream. The clash between two masked swordsmen with dubious morals, honorlessness, and cowardice is seen as evil by most. But in a way, oddly tragic. Very freaking weird. Most would say General Grievous is not a TF2 character. Yes, he's not. But he became one via a technicality. Wheatley and Whitaker were considered TF2 characters because of their appearance in the crossovers. The same applies to Grievous, thanks to his cameo in Burning Through Space 2. Anyway, the matchup is called Dreams of the Spineless. A subtle nod toward Dream's inability to denounce crazy fans and General Grievous Starfighter. However, Dollar Store Guts vs. Dimitri could also work. Seeing how they're both tormented by incomprehensible forces that are mostly female for some reason. At first, this was intended to be some kind of consequence for their fumbling of Scout vs. Tracer. Being forced to analyze the Dream SMP lore and various manhunts and then having to explain to the Dream stands that Grievous wins. This is only fair, I thought to myself. But then I realized that there was a very real chance that the Dream stands would take it too far. And next thing you know, people lost their jobs because someone had too much salt in their system. So it's for the best that this never happens. Train God vs. Celestial Toymaker. I was going to make a joke trailer for this one, but there's hardly any footage for the Train God, not even images. Very unfortunate. Anyway, this is a conflict between godlike beings who are better in concept. The concept of the Train God is pretty good, the magical manifestation of a very powerful vehicle capable of both helping people and sending them to their demise. In Trainsaw Laser, he's just some cosmic butcher with a dead meat fetish. Truly riveting. Celestial Toymaker, a 1,000-year-old immortal being with unimaginable power. In practice, he challenges Doctor Who to play Tower of Hanoi, some card games, and ball throwing. He is just not very creative. But at least the actors had fun while playing the role. Made with limited material. The actor portraying the Celestial Toymaker, Michael Gough, wore an outfit previously used in Marco Polo. His realm is made with improvisation and a very limited inventory. His minions, the same actors in different costumes. Same goes for the Train God and its minions, who were made with existing TF2 assets like Lil Choo Choo from Frontier, saw blades, radioactive waste, wall-mounted lasers, and the Southern Pacific EMD GP38-2. And the map itself is not properly textured. They're also an attempt at surrealism, mess with people's minds with weird contraptions, and are loved by the fans despite their shortcomings. They're also rooted in racism. Celestial was apparently a slur used against the Chinese. Also, one of the toy maker's minions said the gamer word out loud. Seeing how the Austrian painter had a fascination for magical artifacts, and the fact that trains were used for the final solution. Safe to say the train god was worshipped by Nazi Germany. Name for the soundtrack, I'd say Labor Dispute, because I'm quite certain that if the train god appears in Doctor Who, everyone will automatically assume that he's a henchman of the toy maker, especially with this line in the equation.
My legions are coming.
The chances of this becoming a thing are next to none, even lower than Grievous versus Dream. Though this could work as part of a Team Fortress Doctor Who crossover event, not that it would ever be a thing. On to the ones that I did not come up with. Saxton Hale versus Senator Armstrong, as seen on the thumbnail. Ah yes, a tale as old as time. Big strong men fight for dominance or something. The soundtrack for the match could be called Unsuccessful Lobbying. Once again, the Fanon wiki came in and did the heavy lifting. Unfortunately, I do not agree with the results. They said that Hale could pierce the nanobots and had more experience. Armstrong's nanobots were effectively pierced by an upgraded Raiden using Sam's blade, which is said to be one of a kind and is very powerful. Not sure what the output of that would be, but compare this to Hale's strongest opponent, the Yeti. It's said that nothing on Earth can stop it when it's angry. Sounds very strong until you realize it's the hippies who said that. They also said that the Yeti-Hale fight was the last one. This means that lots of things have succeeded in killing a Yeti. Hale was very late to the party. Not to mention, the Yeti managed to pierce Hale's skin. Even with Jungle Inferno, where the Yeti was given enhancing drugs, I doubt it can compare to Raiden, even by 25%. Hale's experience was mostly against animals, hippies, court judges, and robots, mainly stuff that is weaker and dumber than him. Against a strong, experienced opponent like his old mentor, he got floored. If anything, Armstrong has slightly more experience. An argument can be made with Toon Force, unfortunately. Hale does not utilize that in any way. So all in all, Armstrong would obliterate Hale. This is a weird one. TF2 Mercenaries versus Thanos. Sounds like something HoovyTube would make. Seeing how the discussion came to be during the heyday of the MCU, safe to say the Mercenaries will be fighting movie Thanos. Now I know things look really bad for the Mercenaries, but 1 in 1,000, there's a glimmer of hope. It's revealed in the Loki series and several other comics. Each universe has its own set of Infinity Stones that only worked for said universe. So the stones Thanos brought would, at best, only work on him and his army. So theoretically speaking, the mercenaries can overcome the Purple Titan if they can unify the other powerhouses against the Titan. With robot armies, all of Australia, magic users, telepathic mountains, and even more reinforcements from interdimensional traveling, the mercenaries might just be able to edge out a win, but not without devastating losses. All in all, not the worst idea I've ever seen. In the hands of the right people, it might even be worth the risk. Another weird concept, TF2 Universe versus Katamari. I saw it on the Steam discussion forums. My first thought was, what the hell is Katamari? So I looked it up, and it turns out he's a 5-centimeter tall fella who makes stars by rolling stuff up with his ball until it's big enough. Yep, there's no hope for the TF2 universe. The best bet would be to give in and hope that he obtained enough before the whole world is converted. Some honorable mentions. The first is The Watcher versus The Observer. Came up with this while polishing up Train God versus Celestial Toymaker. Just thought this was worth bringing up. And Greyman versus the Separatist. I don't know why someone thought this was fair. Greyman is at his peak, capable of a blitzkrieg on a global scale. It's nothing compared to the Separatists, a galaxy-spanning faction that could have beat the Republic by simply overwhelming them if it wasn't for Palestine. This is the equivalent of having one hornet's nest fight the entire population of India. But at least that one would be fun to see. And that's all the weird TF2 versus matchup ideas that I've made or found. Do these concepts deeply disturb you? Let me know in the comments.